I fully agree with you on that. And a joyful afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Senator Bongo and all the members of this committee for exploring possibilities in expanding the coverage of PhilHealth to deliver more services to the Filipino people. Katulad niyo po, Mr. Chair, ang pakiusap ko lang po sa PhilHealth, sa DOH, at sa lahat ng sangay ng gobyerno, huwag nating pahirapan ang ating mga kababayan. Iparamdam natin sa lahat ang tunay at makataong serbisyo na deserve nila. Lahat kasali, lahat pantay-pantay, lahat may karapatan. Huwag nating hayaang magtago sila sa takot na magpa-ospital dahil wala silang kakayahang magbayad sa kanilang mga medical bills at gamot, lalo na't hindi pa sapat ang tulong na kanilang natatanggap. Today, Mr. Chair, I would like to urge PhilHealth not only to expand its services, but also to strengthen its mental health-related benefits. We must ensure that these benefits are accessible and that everyone, all the way down to the barangay level, should be aware of the services available to them. Mental health issues are not isolated or minor concerns. They are urgent, pervasive, and have lasting impacts on the individuals, families, and communities. It is a timely and relevant issue that needs to be prioritized to ensure that we have productive and safe communities. Age 13 to 15 are alarming high. UP studies show that 1 in 5 Filipinos aged 15 to 24 have experienced suicidal thoughts and 7% have seriously considered it multiple times. Sa probinsya po namin, Mr. Chair, may isang dalaga sa Upland, kinulong sa kubo ng 2 taon dahil sa paranoia at schizophrenia. Hindi alam ng mga magulang kung anong gagawin at sino ang lalapitan, kaya wala silang magawa. May isang estudyante po, walang wifi at di nakasubmit ng homework, nagbigti. Isang teacher na hindi sanay sa online classes, sobrang na-stress at di kinaya at nag-suicide. Maraming kaso ang lumitaw noong pandemya at buong Pilipinas ay naapektuhan. However, due to the shortage of psychiatrists and psychologists, many families were left with no choice but to confine their loved ones at home. Kinukulong pa at nirerehas pa. Bakit? Dahil walang psychiatrist o psychologist na available, walang pambili ng gamot, at hindi nila alam kung saan sila hihingi ng tulong at kung sakop ba ng PhilHealth ang kanilang kondisyon. Hanggang dito na lang ba ang serbisyo na kaya nating ibigay? O baka naman kaya pa nating i-push at sagarin? Currently, the Philippines has only around 1,600 psychologists and around 500 psychiatrists. A ratio of 1 psychiatrist per 220,000 Filipinos and 1 psychologist per 68,000 Filipinos. These numbers are concerning, Mr. Chair, especially when compared to countries like Australia, which has 1 mental health professional for every 2,500 people. The shortage of specialists stems from a lack of sustainable career paths and investment in human capital. And if we fail to act, this gap will only widen. Noong June 2018, Republic Act number 11036 or the Mental Health Act was signed into law. The DOH approved the IRR and regulations on January 2019. Mr. Chair, 6 years later, we still have not fully realized or felt the impact of this law. Di paramdam ng ating mga kababayan ang mga benepisyo ng batas na ito. If I may, Mr. Chair, let me share some models from other countries that we can adapt to our setting. Number 1, Australia. Their Better Access Initiative provides Medicare rebates for mental health services, including psychological therapies and counseling, even in outpatient settings. They also fund mental health hotlines and telehealth services to reach underserved areas. Sa Pilipinas po may hotline, pero 8 a.m. hanggang 5 p.m. lang po. Wala naman pong pinipiling oras ang depression at stress at anxiety. Strike anytime yan, so we need 24/7 hotlines. Sa United Kingdom po, the National Health Service The Improving Access to Psychological Therapies program, which offers free evidence-based therapy for common mental health issues such as depression and anxiety. Community-based hubs are central to this program, bringing services closer to the population. Sa Singapore po, the Mental Health Integrated Network collaborates with primary care providers to deliver mental health services at the community level. This reduces the burden on hospitals and ensures timely interventions. Sa USA po, sa bawat $100 na medicines na kailangan ninyo, $10 lang po ang copay. Tapos sa therapies po na $30 an hour, ang copay lang din ng isang pasyente ay $10 to $50. Drawing this from these models, Mr. Chairman, I propose the following. Number 1, expand outpatient mental health coverage. Add more budget for consultations, therapy sessions, and medication for mental health condition in PhilHealth's benefits. 9,000 to 16,000 a year is not enough. A service user from Manila spends 35,000 to 40,000 a month. Sobrang mahal po, kaya kailangan pa ng dagdag suporta mula sa PhilHealth. Coverage should not be limited to severe cases, but also address common issues like anxiety, stress, and depression. Prevention before treatment. Number 2, strengthen community-based programs. Equip barangay health workers, PHWs, frontliners, and primary care providers with basic mental health training, enabling them to serve as the first line of support. Number 3, accredit alternative and holistic therapies. Because there is a shortage of psychologists and psychiatrists, some service users go to a life coach, grief counselors, healers, or spiritual coaches, art and music therapists, to name a few. Can they be included in the PhilHealth coverage as well? Encourage super health centers to offer alternative therapies like acupuncture, detox, breathing exercises, mindfulness training, and provide consultants for proper diet, because this also affects the mental health well-being of an individual. These approaches are affordable, effective, and culturally resonant. Mental health is all about lifestyle and well-being. Let's go back to basics. Number 4, public-private partnerships. Collaborate with NGOs, civic organizations, and private institutions to train volunteers and provide services. This can accelerate the establishment of mental health hubs across barangays nationwide. Support workplace wellness and BPOs. Corporate social responsibility funded mental health clinics. Telehealth solutions with telcos as examples. Number 5, launch a comprehensive information campaign. Educate Filipinos about available mental health benefits, tackling stigma, and ensuring that no one hesitates to seek help due to ignorance or fear. Mr. Chair, if we fail to act, we risk a mental health crisis that will strain our healthcare system and lead to tragic outcomes for millions of Filipinos. Mas mahal ang treatment kesa sa prevention. We must remember, people are crying for help. If we do not listen to the whispers, we will be forced to hear the screams. Let us move from rhetoric to action. PhilHealth must rise to the occasion and fulfill its mandate of providing accessible and comprehensive healthcare to all Filipinos. There is no health without mental health. It's time we treat it with urgency and seriousness it deserves. To summarize, Mr. Chair, I would like to pose the following questions. Number 1, can PhilHealth provide an overview of the current mental health benefit package? Is there an opportunity to expand and increase coverage? And what would be the timeline? Number 2, can PhilHealth accredit therapy centers that offer alternative healing or therapies for mental health patients, such as acupuncture, traditional healing, and holistic treatments? If yes, what is the accreditation process for mental health facilities, and how can we streamline it? Number 3, does DOH currently have partnerships with NGOs for the rollout of mental health programs? If so, what is the extent of these collaborations? Mr. Chair, let us not wait for more lives to be lost or ruined. Together, let us build a system that truly serves the Filipino people, a system that ensures that no one is left behind. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Salamat, Board Member Geraldine Joy Ortega. Nagkausap rin po kami nito. Gusto siya.
Universal Healthcare Law, napirmahan na yan February of 2019. And then, nakikita natin yung mga pagre-request ng mga hospitals, yung mga increases in bed. But there's a template already for the UHC law. So, in fairness naman to Yusek Bravo, kasi bago siya sa posisyon, I have never seen then the Secretary of Health attending this meeting only on July 30. Yan ang problema natin. So if there's a template and we know that already, we know that Health Human Resource kasama doon. Then you have the funding, which is the PhilHealth. You're speaking right now of increased funding. Bakit kinuha yung 90 billion? It's counterintuitive. And the last one is infrastructure. Ngayon, ang napansin ko doon sa pag-i-increase ng mga infrastructure, there's a limit lang na pwede ka. Hindi ka pwede mag-increase ng, let's say, Heart Center or East Avenue. There's a limit in the study. Ngayon, pag ginawa mo yun, magiging super congested yung mga hospitals na yan. And pag super congested yan, at wala kang health human resource, wala kang funding, wala yan. In an archipelago setting, dapat hindi bed ang ini-increase mo. Kasi ang layo ng biyahe. Ang ini-increase mo dapat hospital. So because lagi na lang ganyan tayo disaster tayo area, and ang pupuntahan mo lang NCR. 50% of the hospitals are actually in the National Capital Region. 50% of the health human resource nasa National Capital Region. Kaya pag may disaster tayo anywhere else, wala tayong tulong. So dapat ang template for every region, increasean natin ng hospitals close to the residents, and then bring up the health human resource, gamitan natin ng PhilHealth, kompleto natin template. Ang problema, we put the cart before the horse. Wala po siyang planning, walang scorecard. So we're right now on the 5th year of the UHC. Hindi balahibo niyan, hindi ko makita. The President promised at the time ng kanyang first SONA that they will actually establish specialty centers, ay nasa na siya ngayon, and midterm election na siya. Because walang scorecard, walang checklist. So how would we know kung tayo nag-i-improve? So all of these things are lip service. That's why we are in shambles right now, Mr. Chair. And I think I want to challenge the status quo. These are actually stopgap measures, short-term. Wala tayong vision about their future. So in this interlude and problem natin sa dynamics ng country, the people are actually very sad because ang public welfare and social welfare naiipit in these political wars and struggles natin. Sana man lang isubin nyo ang kalusugan, i-follow ang Universal Healthcare Law regardless kung sino ang nasa posisyon. But wala tayong nakikita. And the people are actually impatient. Kawawa naman. You have a person na mako-confine. Wala ka man lang, mangungutang ka, magtitiis ka, mag-GGL ka pa, tinanggal pa ng DSWD ang GL. Sana ngayon susuling ang mga tao? You have a high inflation rate, you have an exchange rate of 59:1, you have the weakest quarter for the GDP, 5.2%. Saan pa tayo pupulutin, Mr. Chair? Ngayon, ang kalusugan ay kayamanan, yan ang priority dapat ng gobyerno. Ngayon, wala We are drifting away in health. I have lived long enough, Mr. Chair, since 10 years ago from the sin tax law implementation to fund the Universal Healthcare Law. I was a PhilHealth director from 2016-2019, and my last day was the signing of the Universal Healthcare Law in 2019. And then, ngayon, 2024 na, Mr. Chair, wala pa rin. And we have 3 years into the next election in 2028. So nasa na tayo ngayon? Kaya in fairness naman to the officers here, okay naman. But we want accountability. We need the Secretary of Health here. Wala July 30 lang siya umattend. We had so many meetings. We want answers, Mr. Chair. Hindi tayo pwedeng ganito lang na ng ganito. So, yun lang ako. Strategic planning thinking. We can talk all day about all of this increase in the capacity. We can talk about benefit package. Pero dapat may template tayo. Hindi tayo pipitsugin ng mga tao here. We spend time. So we should be prepared then in trying to address this problem. But it starts with the leadership eh. Secretary of Herbosa, where are you? Nasaan ka dito? Kami mga private citizens kami. We want answers right now eh. We only see the Department of Health making selfies eh. Attending meetings abroad eh. Nasaan? I mean, sorry but real talk lang. Where is the Secretary of Health in a Senate hearing? And then you have a budget hearing to be approved on the third reading. We want answers, Mr. Chair. Wala eh. And this would not actually be appearing din naman in the media. Wala. Because this will actually be there's another day. Kasi ang issue is nasa political arena eh. Pero habang nag-aaway sa taas, kawawa naman si Juan de la Cruz. Yun ang problema. At ang kalusugan lang ay importante sa aming lahat ngayon. I stop there, Mr. Chair. And I think kailangan natin i-address yan para naman meron naman pupuntahan. Kasi budget hearing na. Matatapos na. Bibigyan niyo sila ng pera. Tapos next year, ganito na naman ang problema natin. Kailangan natin ng sagot. And we should actually have a quarterly meeting and we request the Secretary of Health to be present naman so that they can address the problems eh. Kasi kawawa naman ng USEC, kawawa naman ng PhilHealth. And the chairman of the board is the Secretary of Health eh. So we want accountability also from the Secretary of Health. Hindi naman masasagot ni USEC Bravo lahat ito eh. How about to the other organization, Health Human Resources, we're the #1 exporter of doctors in the world and the nurses paalis ng paalis kasi hindi natin ina-address ang health human resource. Ang funding natin na TRO na nga eh. So, ang sinasabi ni Yusek Bravo, kailangan natin ng pondo. Pinamigay nga natin yung pondo eh. Kaya tayo ngayon nahihirapan. Tapos ang health infrastructures natin kulang. Hindi tayo pwedeng maglagay ng kama na mapupuno yun, tapos wala kang doktor. The idea in our archipelago setting is to set up more hospitals, may not be bigger, but actually 100-bed capacity, so that maglalakad na lang ang residents and not travel 100 kilometers to a regional hospital. I think that's the scenario. Archipelago setting tayo eh. Hindi naman tayo an area na bailan lahat pwede. Yan ho ang problema natin. If you're actually in Visayas, in Mindanao, in islands, paano? Paano ka? Press ka for Cebu, Visayas, and then sa Tarma ka dapat nag-i-inject na. Ang nangyayari kasi, nandun ka sa bodega ng department, wala ka namang cold chain eh. Napanish yun. 35 billion na napanish doon. Because we don't have strategic thinking. I guess it's about time that we actually reflect on why we are failing. Ang nangyari, what went wrong eh. Ang dapat nating gagawin ngayon, what will go wrong. Hindi post-mortem eh, dapat ante-mortem eh. So let's elevate the level of discussion in healthcare, Mr. Chair.
Salamat, Dr. Lechon.
Mr. Chair, can I say something?
Before that, to the DOH, now please send us a detailed report on the implementation of Republic Act 11959, the regional specialty centers at since meron po tayong oversight function dito sa implementation ng UHC. Sabi ko nga, magma-monthly hearing po tayo dito sa Senado at kung pwede, dalahin nyo na rin po rin yung report dito to update the committee and to update the Filipino people. So sa mga implementation ninyo. Ako, I agree, sobrang layo pa natin sa full implementation ng universal healthcare. Dami pa pong nangangailangan ng mga kababayan nating mahirap. Kasama na po dyan itong issue ng PhilHealth dahil habang nandyan po yung pondo ninyo na natutulog. Tapos yung mga kababayan natin ay naghihirap po, yung mga pasyente hindi makalabas sa ospital, hindi nila alam paano mag-avail ng services ng PhilHealth, ay nasasaktan po ako. Sobrang nasasaktan po ako. Bumaba po kayo sa tao, pumunta kayo sa ospital, ako, kitang-kita ko talaga, mahirap magkasakit, mahirap maging mahirap. Huwag natin pahirapan ang mga kababayan nating mahirap. Tulungan po natin sila. Andiyan dyan po ang pondo ng PhilHealth. Andiyan dyan naman po ang DOH. Ang dapat lang po dito is full implementation ng Universal Healthcare Law na ipinasa po natin. Tingnan niyo po sa ibang bansa, ang layo po natin sa ngayon. Pero ayaw ko pong ikumpara ito. Kaya naman natin to. Magtulungan lang po tayo. Please lang po. Sa lahat ng health officials, sa lahat ng health advocate, sa PhilHealth, DOH, sa lahat po. Including the ating nasa private sector, mga health advocate natin, magtulungan po tayo. Is it related po, Ms. Ruby Baha? Ito sa Heart Warriors of the Philippines. Oh.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Oh.
Respectfully po, I would like to inform you that there are medication na mga hindi kasama sa formulary as our support group for congenital heart disease. Sobrang mahal po kasi ng gamot na wala pong stock sa mga government hospital or any hospital pharmacy. So bilang indigent patient, mahirap po sa amin na i-sustain itong med. Bakit po hindi po natin gawa ng paraan na maisama po siya? It's because ang medicine is essential naman po, lalo na sa mga may sakit sa puso na nagkaroon ng complication due to pulmonary artery hypertension. The medicines would parang dito kami magkakasakit as a mental disability ones because financially we cannot afford.
Since pag-uusapan na po natin yung UHC, no, konektado po ito dito, kaya natanong na rin po ni Ms. Ruby Maha. May mga concerns po sila to DOH, and of course sa PhilHealth, maaaring masagot nyo rin po ito. Na ito yung sinasabi ko na kung sobra-sobra po ang pondo ng PhilHealth, baka magawa niyo po ng paraan itong concern po ng mga Heart Warriors of the Philippines. Yung concern niya, marami pa po mga medisina na hindi na nako-cover po, no? So pwede bang maliwanagan po ng DOH, ng PhilHealth po ito? Dahil itong mga Heart Warriors of the Philippines, ito yung mga nandiyan dyan sa Philippine Heart Center na grupo po ito ng mga magulang na may mga karamdaman po sa puso na kahit saan na lang po sila humingi ng tulong, nagmamakaawa sa iba't ibang opisina ng gobyerno para maka-avail po ng tulong. Baka po pwedeng magawa niyo po ito ng paraan. Itong concern niya. Miss Anavik, sa anong grupo ito?
Pulmonary Hypertension Association Philippines po.
Sige, go ahead, ma'am. Doktora.
Yes.
Miss-
Yes, Mr. Chair, kasi to tell you honestly, kaming mga may sakit na rare disease, kasi rare condition na po ito eh. Or rare condition, medyo questionable po siya sa DOH. When we try to get PWD na pwedeng makatulong sa amin para mabawasan kahit papano ang medicine bills namin, hindi kami nabibigyan agad kasi questionable sa kanila yung disease. Which is questionable din for us kasi yung rare disease po na ito, globally well known. So I don't know, bakit hindi po alam ng DOH na mga small satellites, ang sakit po namin. And hindi po kami nabibigyan agad ng PWD. Questionable po, bakit hindi naman daw po, we don't look sick. Yeah, I admit that. But you don't have to look sick to be sick. Di ba po? So yun lang po yung sasabihin ko na wala po kaming cure sa sakit namin. We only have medicines to prolong our life. So why not help us prolong our life? Yun lang po.
Sa DOH, pwede nyo bang masagot po?
Mr. Chair, yes. With regards to the inclusion of drugs and medicines in the pulmonary, there's an ongoing high-level discussion with the Secretary and DOH because the inclusion of drugs is under HSTAC, which is not under DOH, it's under DOST. But even with that, the Secretary has ongoing discussion with HSTAC on the inclusion of the pulmonary drugs. It's not under DOH, it's under DOST. We have a relating initiative. But before, I would like to go back to my initial comment related sa creation of hospitals. We have around 81 provinces all over the country. The policy of DOH is to establish a DOH hospital in every province. As of now, we have 38 provinces that has no DOH hospital. And the DOH cannot simply establish a hospital without the passage of Republic Act. And it will take at least 3 to 4 years for Congress to pass a establishment of a hospital. So that's our problem. It will start from Congress, not DOH.